Hi guys, and welcome to another video to hold myself accountable on stuff. So in the thumbnail, I'm holding up some various ARCs. For those of you who may not know, ARCs are advanced readers copies. So yeah, and these are ARCs. All of these I won from Goodreads over a couple of years, and I have yet to get to them. So I just haven't prioritized them, and they all sounded really good. That's why I entered the contest. There's one I did not win on Goodreads. A coworker, I think it was a coworker of my mom's, had it, thought she would like it. And then my mom brought it home, didn't think she would read it, and so she gave it to me. So yeah, let's go ahead and just start with that one. And I'll tell you when the release date or tentative release date was on these, but this first one is thick. It is The Newcomer by Mary Kay Andrews. The release date on this one was supposedly on sale May of 2021. So coming up on 2 years, but I haven't had it that long. I want to say I've had this one closer to a year. Let's see. Summer Never Ends with MKA. In trouble and on the run, after she discovers her sister Tanya dead on the floor of her fashionable New York City townhouse, Letty Cranahan is certain she knows who did it. Tanya's ex, sleazy real estate entrepreneur Evan Wingfield. Even in the grip of grief and panic, Letty heeds her late sister's warnings. If anything bad happens to me, it's Evan. Promise me you'll take Maya and run. Promise me. So Letty grabs her sister's Mercedes and hits the road. With a trunk full of emotional baggage, with her wailing 4-year-old niece Maya, Letty is determined to outrun Evan and the law, but run to where? Tanya, a woman with a past shrouded in secrets, left behind a go bag of cash and a big honking diamond ring. But only one clue, a faded magazine story about a sleepy mom-and-pop motel in a Florida beach town with the impossible name of Treasure Island. She sheds her old life and checks into an uncertain future at the Murmuring Surf Motel. The vacancy sign is flashing and the sharks are circling. And that's the good news, because the surf, as the regulars call it, is the winter home of a close-knit flock of retirees and snowbirds who regard this odd duck newcomer with suspicion and downright hostility. As Letty settles into the motel's former storage room, she tries to heal Maya's heartache and unravel the key to her sister's shady past, all while dodging the attention of the owner's dangerously attractive son, Joe, who just happens to be a local police detective. Can Letty find romance as well as a room at the inn, or will Joe betray her secrets and put her behind bars? With danger closing in, it's a race to find the truth and right the wrongs of the past. So there's that. It sounds really good. For whatever reason, I just haven't been grabbing these. They all sound pretty good for the ones that I have read. Some of these I haven't even read the synopsis. All right, the next on my stack here, or little mishmash pile, is Jackal by Aaron E. Adams. This supposedly went on sale October 4th of 2022. Let's see, is there a synopsis? Yeah. A young black girl goes missing in the woods outside her white Rust Belt town, but she's not the first and she may not be the last. It's watching. Liz Rocher is coming home reluctantly. As a black woman, Liz doesn't exactly have fond memories of Johnstone, Pennsylvania, a predominantly white town, but her best friend is getting married, so she braces herself for a weekend of awkward, passive-aggressive reunions. Liz has grown, though. She can handle whatever awaits her, but on the day of the wedding, somewhere between dancing and dessert, the couple's daughter, Caroline, disappears, and the only thing left behind is a piece of white fabric covered in blood. It's taking. As a frantic search begins, with the police combing the trees for Caroline, Liz is the only one who notices a pattern. A summer night, a missing girl, a party in the woods. She's seen this before. Keisha Woodson, the only other black girl in Liz's high school, walked into the woods with a mysterious man and was later found in her with her chest cavity ripped open and her heart removed. Liz shudders at the thought that it could have been her, and now, with Caroline missing, it can't be a coincidence. As Liz starts to dig through the town's history, she uncovers a horrifying secret about the place she once called home. Children have been going missing in these woods for years, all of them black, all of them girls. It's your turn. With the evil in the forest creeping closer, Liz knows what she must do. Find Caroline or be entirely consumed by the darkness. Sounds really good. I just haven't been reaching for these. Part of the problem is they're not on this bookshelf, and so it's kind of like an out of sight, out of mind situation. But I need to go into that room to find stuff. I think what I would like to do is do this same video at the start of 2024, so in a year. It's February 27th when I'm filming this one, so I'd like to do it a little bit sooner and kind of like do a recap on this one and see what I have read, what is still left to be read, and maybe any books that I accrue. Or maybe I'll write them in a bullet journal. I don't know. I'll figure it out, but I do want to hold myself accountable to get to these. Next in my pile is Love Lettering by Kate Claiborne. This one says it was on sale December 31st of 2019. Okay, see, I got a little problem here. I'm looking for any sort of a synopsis. Sometimes there's not a synopsis on these, but where these are published, I can just pull it up on Goodreads if there's not. So I'll just read what's on the back here. It says, her hand lettering made her famous. Her beautiful journals are in demand, but her bad habit might bring it all crashing down. The right rom-com for word nerds. So a romantic comedy. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Anyway, next up is Winterland by Ray Meadows. On sale November 2022. So this one's more recent, but still. Let's see, these are all how this is such a great book. Okay, I think this is the synopsis right here. Reminiscent. Okay, in the Soviet Union in 1973, there is perhaps no greater honor for a young girl than to be part of the famed USSR gymnastics program. Let's see, so when 8-year-old Anya is chosen, her family is thrilled. What is left of her family, that is. Years ago, her mother disappeared. Anya's only confidant is her neighbor, an older woman who survived unspeakable horrors during her 10 years in a gulag camp, and who, unbeknownst to Anya, was also her mother's confidant and might hold the key to her disappearance. Interesting. As Anya moves up the ranks of competitive gymnastics, and as other girls move down, Anya comes to realize that there is very little margin of error for anyone. So, sounds good. I do like watching gymnastics at times. I prefer ice skating, but I do like watching gymnastics. So I think this will be interesting. I've never read anything with gymnastics. So next up is Big Bad, a novel from the world of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So if you like Buffy, I never really got into Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but vampires, I'll go for it. This was written by Lily Anderson. Big Bad. This September of 2022 was when this one was supposed to be published. It says, I'm trying to get it without a glare. Demondale, California, 1999, like Sunnydale, but a whole lot more evil. Step into this alternate reality where chaos reigns supreme. The mayor's sunshade has created permanent darkness over Sunnydale, fully opening the hell mouth once and for all. Now the newly christened Demondale, I think is what it is. I think it's Demondale, not Demondale, Demondale. Demondale has become a safe haven for vampires, beasts, and all types of ruffians. It's never been better to be bad. Aspiring supervillains and super nerds, Jonathan and Andrew attempt to hold their own in a town full of monsters, while 300-year-old vengeance demon Anya is just looking for something to give her life purpose again, spending her days working at an evil juice bar. But soon word gets out that there's a new big bad on the scene, one more powerful and more destructive than anyone who has come before. She, of course, is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and she's hell-bent on rooting out all of this reality's evil by any means necessary. Now Jonathan, Andrew, and Anya must recruit a team of Demondale's most notorious villains, including Angulus, Spike, Drusilla, and even Ripper, the malevolent magic shop owner, in order to save the world. But it'll be no easy feat to put their pride and differences aside and stop the worst thing that has ever come to town. Good. So, written by, let's see, it says, written by acclaimed author and Buffy superfan. Brings together Buffy's most devious and beloved villains. So, again, I never got into Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so maybe someone who did get into Buffy the Vampire Slayer would enjoy this more, but I still hope to enjoy it because I do like villain stories from the perspective of the villain, origin stories, and things that have to do with vampires. Love that stuff. So I think I'll still enjoy it. Next up, I have These Deadly Games by Diana Urban. Let's see. It says you have 24 hours to win or lose your life. It says on sale February of 2022. 10 points for Twisted. 10 points for Razor Sharp. Bonus points for Addictive. Okay, that's not part of the synopsis. That's just how this place... Okay, here's the synopsis. We'd all wonder what we'd do in a murder mystery like I Know What You Did Last Summer. I like that book. What if someone was picking off your friends one by one and going to the police wasn't an option? Would you panic or run? Or would you have the smarts to solve the mystery? But what if it was much worse and the killer made you do the killing, or else they'd murder the person who mattered to you the most? Would you be able to choose? Interesting. It's this exact scenario that Crystal Donovan finds herself in when she gets a message on a mysterious app with a picture of her little sister gagged and bound. She agrees to play the kidnapper's sick game. At first, they make her complete bizarre tasks. Steal a test and stuff it in a locker. Bake brownies. Make a prank call. But then the games get deadly. Sounds really good. Sounds really good. Okay, let's just go ahead and move on. Small Game by Blair Braverman. November of 2022 was the release date, so this one's more recent. Let's see, this is a debut, so that's cool. For strangers and 6 weeks, this is all that separates Mara from one life-changing payday. She was surprised when reality TV producers came knocking at Primal Instinct, the survival school where she teaches rich clients not to die during a night outdoors, and even more shocked to be cast in their new show Civilization. Now she just has to live off the land with her fellow survivals for long enough to get the prize money. Whisked by helicopter to an undisclosed location, Mara meets her teammates, the grizzled outdoorsmen, the Eagle Scout, the white-collar professional, and Ashley, the beautiful but inexperienced one who just wants to be famous. Mara's unusual, rugged childhood has prepared her for the discomforts and hard work ahead. But trusting her fellow survivals, not part of Mara's skill set. When the cast wakes one morning to find something has gone horribly wrong, fear ripples through the group. Are the producers giving them an extra challenge, or are they wrapped up in something more dangerous? Soon, Mara and the others face terrifying decisions as survival becomes more than a game. Yeah. So, sounds good. Of course. Of course. This one is Getaway by, and I know this is out, I have seen the finished copies of these. Getaway by Zoe Stage, I'm guessing is how it says it. It says this is the author of Wonderland and Baby Teeth. Haven't read either of those. Baby Teeth sounds familiar. Coming in August 2021. So, Imogen and Beck, two sisters who couldn't be more different, have been friends with Tilda since high school. Once inseparable, over 2 decades the women have grown apart. But after Imogen survives a traumatic attack, Beck suggests they all reunite to hike up into the Grand Canyon's back country, a week away, secluded in nature. Surely it's just what they need. But as the terrain grows rougher, tensions from their shared past bubble up. And when supplies begin to disappear, it becomes clear that secrets aren't the only thing they're being stalked by. As friendship and survival collide in an unspeakable evil, Getaway becomes another riveting thriller from a growing master of suspense. And a literary horror writer on the rise. So that's what it is. So, I mean, it sounds good. And I just haven't reached for it. Out of sight, out of mind, but I need to make these more of a priority. Next up I have Reprieve by James Han Mattson. And when's the release date? Oh, October of 2021. So, yeah. On April 27th, 1997, four contestants make it to the final cell of the Quigley House, a full contract haunted escape room in Lincoln, Nebraska, made famous for its monstrosities, booby traps, and ghoulishly costumed actors. If the group can endure these horrors without shouting the safe word reprieve, they'll win a substantial cash prize, a startling feat accomplished only by one other group in the house's long history. But before they can complete the challenge, a man breaks into the cell and kills one of the contestants. Those who were present on that fateful night lend their points of view. Kendra Brown, a teenager who's been uprooted from her childhood home after the sudden loss of her father. Leonard Granton, a desperate and impressionable hotel manager caught in a series of toxic entanglements. And J.D. Carsonuk, a gay international student who came to the United States in a besotted search for his former English teacher. As each character's journey unfurls and overlaps, deceit and misunderstandings fueled by obsession and prejudice are revealed, forcing all to reckon with the ways in which their beliefs and actions contributed to a horrifying catastrophe. So, that sounds really good, and definitely not what I expected from the cover. Okay, next I have A Prayer for Travelers by Ruchika Tomar, I'm guessing is how that one is said. Release date was July 9th of 2019. So, yeah. Let's see. Kale, a bookish loner of mysterious parentage, was abandoned by her mother and raised by her grandfather in a loving, if codependent, household. One pivotal summer, her life is upended by the discovery of a devastating secret that will change her life forever. Set adrift for the first time in her life, Kale starts waitressing at the local diner, where she reconnects with Penelope Reyes, a charismatic former classmate and all-around hustler. Penny exposes Kale to the reality that exists beyond their small town. I like small-town books. And the girls become inseparable until one terrifying act of violence shatters their world. When Penny vanishes without a trace, Kale must set off on a dangerous quest across the desert to find her friend and to discover herself. So, sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Still got quite a few here. I mean, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's only 10 so far. Do I have... I have read from this author before, and I believe the book I read was another arc. And it was good. I liked that one. So that author is Scott Carson. I have read this one before. I'm blanking. Oh, the Chill. I have read that and I enjoyed that one. So this one is Where They Wait by Scott Carson. This one, the release date was October 26th of 2021, so it's been a bit. This one says, recently laid off from his newspaper and desperate for work, war correspondent Nick Bishop takes a humbling job, writing a profile of a new mindfulness app called Clarity. It's easy money and a chance to return to his hometown for his first visit in years. The app itself seems to be a retread of old ideas, relaxing white noise and guided meditations. But then there are the sleep songs. A woman's hauntingly beautiful voice sings a ballad that is anything but soothing. It's disturbing, really. More of a warning than a relaxation, but it works. Deep, refreshing sleep follows. So do nightmares, vivid and chilling. They feature a dead woman who calls Nick by name and whispers guidance. Or are they threats? And soon her voice follows him along the song, long after the song is done. After the effects of the nightmares begin to permeate his waking life, Nick makes a terrifying discovery. No one involved with Clarity has any interest in his article. Their interest is in him. Sounds good. That sounds really good. I've just got to reach for these. I've got to make these more of a priority. Next up, I have Our American Friend by Anna Pitoniak. Pitoniak, I'm guessing. Release date was February 15th of 2022, so this is over a year old. It says, tired of converting the grating dysfunction, of covering, excuse me. Let me start that over because she's not converting, it's covering. Tired of covering the grating dysfunction of Washington and the increasingly outrageous antics of President Henry Kane, White House correspondent Sophie Morose quits her job and plans to leave politics behind. But when she gets a call from the office of First Lady Laura Kane asking Sophie to come in for a private meeting, she's intrigued. Sophie, like the rest of the world, knows little about Laura, only that Laura was born in Soviet Russia, raised in Paris, and worked as a model before moving to America and marrying the notoriously brash future president. When Laura asks Sophie to write her official biography and to finally fill in the gaps of her history, Sophie's curiosity gets the better of her. She begins to spend more and more time in the White House, slowly developing a bond with Laura, who, to Sophie's surprise, is entirely candid about her mysterious past. The First Lady doesn't hesitate to speak about her beloved father's work as an undercover KGB officer in Paris, I don't know what that is, and how he wasn't the only person in her family working undercover during the Cold War. As her story unfolds, Sophie can't help but wonder why Laura Kane is rehashing such sensitive information, why to her, and why now. Spanning from the 1970s to the present day, traveling from Moscow to Paris to DC and New York, and okay, this is a gripping page turner about power and complicity, and how sometimes the fate of the world is in the hands of the people you've never expect. So, yeah. Next up, I have The Ways We Hide by Kristina McMorris. I like the cover of this. And let's see, this, on sale September of 2022. So this one's fairly recent as well. As a little girl raised amid the hardships of Michigan's Copper County, Fenna Voss learned to focus on her own survival. Her constant, even now as World War II rages in faraway countries. Though she performs on stage as the assistant to an unruly escape artist, behind the curtain she's the mastermind of their act. After all, her honed ability to control her surroundings and elude entrapments reliably surpasses the traumas of her youth. Yet for all her planning, Fenna can't possibly foresee being called upon by British military intelligence. Tasked with designing escape aids to thwart the Germans, MI9 seeks those with specialized skills for a war nearing its breaking point. Fenna reluctantly joins the unconventional team as an inventor, but when a test of her loyalty draws her deep into the fray, she discovers no mission is more treacherous than escaping one's past. Yeah, sounds good. I like historical fictions. I just wish there was more variety because it's very heavily saturated with World War II when it comes to war-based historical fictions, but it is what it is. Next up, I have Destination Wedding by Diksha Basu. This is the author of The Windfall. This was on sale June 30th of 2020. So, let's see, is there a synopsis in this one? Yes. When Tina Doss finds herself at a crossroads both professionally and personally, she wonders if a week-long trip to Delhi for her cousin's lavish wedding might be just the right kind of escape. I hope I said that right, probably didn't. Maybe a little time away from New York will help get her mind straight about her stalled career, her recent breakup, and her nagging suspicion that she'll never feel as at home in America as she does in India. Tina hopes this destination wedding, taking place in Delhi's poshest country club, Colebrook's, will be the perfect way to reflect and unwind. But with the entire Doss family in attendance, a relaxing vacation is decidedly not in the cards. Her amicably divorced parents are each using the occasion to explore new love interests for her mother, a white American boyfriend, for her father, an Indian widow arranged by an online matchmaker, and Tina's squarely in the middle. A former fling is unexpectedly on the guest list. A work opportunity is blurring the lines of propriety on several fronts, and her best friend Marianne's terrible penchant for international playboys is poised to cause all sorts of chaos back home. The accommodations are swanky, the alcohol is top shelf, but this family wedding may be more drama than Tina can bear and could finally force her to make the choices she spent much of her life avoiding. Sounds comedic, but sounds good. So yeah, up next I have It's Not All Downhill From Here, It's Not All Downhill From Here by Terry McMillian. This was on sale March 31st of 2020. So, Loretha Curry's life is full. A little crowded sometimes, but full indeed. On the eve of her 68th birthday, she has a booming beauty supply empire, a gaggle of lifelong friends, and a husband whose moves still surprise her. True, she's carrying a few more pounds than she should be, but Loretha is not one of those women who think her best days are behind her, and she's out to prove wrong her mother, her twin sister, and everyone else that with that outdated view. It's not all downhill from here. But after an unexpected loss, Loretha must summon all her strength, resourcefulness, and determination to endure heartbreak, pursue joy, and heal old wounds and chart new paths, with help from her friends, of course. So that sounds good. And the thing with these arcs is I don't want to get an audiobook for them because where they're advanced readers copies, I don't know how many corrections there's going to be. You know, if things added, things completely removed from the final copy in the audiobook versus the advanced reader's copy, especially if it says it's an uncorrected proof. So next up is Margreet's Harbor by Eleanor Morse, I'm guessing, or Morse, I'm guessing. It's, let's see, this one was on sale April of 2021. Margreet's Harbor begins with a fire. A fiercely independent, thrice-widowed woman living on her own in a rambling house near the Maine coast forgets a hot pan on the stovetop and nearly burns her place down. When Margreet Bright calls her daughter Liddy to confess, Liddy realizes that her mother can no longer live alone. She, her husband Harry, and their children, Eva and Bernie, move from a settled life in Michigan across the country to Margreet's isolated home and begin a new life. Margreet's Harbor tells the story of 10 years in the history of a family, a novel of small moments, intimate betrayals, arrivals, and disappointments that coincide with America during the late 1950s through the turbulent 1960s. Liddy, a professional cellist, I'm guessing, struggles to find space for her music, cellist. Space for her music in a marriage that increasingly confines her. Harry's critical approach to the growing war in Vietnam endangers his new position as a high school history teacher. Bernie and Eva begin to find their own identities as young adults, and Margreet slowly descends into a private world of memories, even as she comes to find a larger purpose in them. So maybe this is going to have a lot about Alzheimer's or dementia. I don't know. We'll see when it is I eventually get to that one. Next up, I have Three Girls from Bronsville, a uniquely American story of race, fate, and sisterhood by Dawn Turner. This says it was on sale September 7th of 2021. They were three black girls. Dawn, tall and studious. Her sister Kim, younger by 3 years and headstrong as they come. And her best friend Deborah, already prom queen pretty by 3rd grade. They bonded fervently and intensely in that unique way of little girls. As they roamed the concrete landscape of Bronsville, a historic neighborhood in Chicago's South Side, the destination of hundreds of thousands of black folks who fled the ravages of the Jim Crow South. These third-generation daughters of the Great Migration come of age in the 1970s. In the warm glow of the recent civil rights movement, it has offered them a promise, albeit nascent and fragile, that they will have more opportunities, rights, and freedoms than any generation of black Americans in history. Their striving working-class parents are eager for them to realize this hard-fought potential. But the girls have much more immediate concerns. Hiding under the dining room table and eavesdropping on grown folks' business, collecting secret treasures and daydreaming about their futures, Dawn and Deborah want to be doctors, Kim a teacher. For a brief wondrous moment, the girls are all giggles and dreams and promises of friends forever. Then fate intervenes. Oh, that's not a good thing. First, slowly and then dramatically, sending them careening in wildly different directions. There's heartbreak, loss, displacement, and even murder. Dawn struggles to make sense of the shocking turns that consume her sister and best friend, all the while asking herself a simple but profound question. Why? Yeah, that sounds really good. And I think a lot of good topics will be talked about and explored in that. Next up, looks like it's a Western, and it says Old Cowboys Never Die by William W. Johnstone and J.A. Johnstone. What? This one was on sale October 25th of 2022, so more recent. But still, I'm not reaching for these. Let's see, where is the synopsis? Okay. After 30 hard years of chasing stampedes into storms and pushing herds of half-crazy cows across the plains, longtime buddies and cattle drivers Casey Tubbs and Eli Doolin are ready to hang up their spurs. But when they get to Abilene with their final delivery of 2,000 cows, the company lawyer has skipped town with their crew's entire wages. That means there's just one last job Eli and Casey will have to do: steal it back. Sure, pulling off a robbery is a new challenge for these old boys, but they've learned a lot of tricks over the years. And they're one hell of a team. Between the two of them, they devise a scheme to hold up the lawyer on the noon train and deliver the money to the men who earned it. Except, after pulling off the perfect crime and getting away with it, an honest, peaceful retirement stops sounding so good. Casey and Eli start thinking they may have missed their calling in life. This could be the start of a whole new career as outlaws. Sounds good. I have never read a Western, and I really want to see if that's a genre I will like. So I'm glad I have an ARC to kind of test that out. Okay, we're on the last, thankfully, last 4 books that I need to try to prioritize. Next up, I have Tina, Mafia Soldier by Maria Rosa Cutrufelli. March. Oh, this one is not out yet. This one is not out yet. This is translated from Italian by Robin Pickering Iazzi. This comes out in March, so pretty much any day now. So this says Sicily, 1980s. When she was just 8 years old, Tina watched her father, a member of Cosa Nostra, was murdered in cold blood. Now a teenager, she terrorizes her hometown of Gela, having made it her mission in life to join the Mafia, an organization traditionally forbidden to women. Nicknamed a masculita, or the tomboy, Tina has taken charge of her own clan and is notorious for her cruelty and reckless disregard for societal expectations. When a news article is published about Tina's latest crimes, a teacher living in Rome feels compelled to write a novel about her, even though it means returning to Sicily to gather material. She and Tina circle around each other in a dangerous dance of obsession and violence, until at first and last explosive meeting. So, sounds pretty good. Secret Rules to Being a Rock Star by Jessamyn Violet. This one, I don't know if there's a synopsis. There's not a synopsis. Let me look this one up on Goodreads, because I don't see a synopsis for this one at all. And I think it was when I did this in a haul, I just read this little tagline. But it's not really a tagline either, so I don't know. 18-year-old Kyla Bell dreams of one day being a professional musician, but gets little to no support from her parents. Still, she practices every day and performs locally, harboring her own secret hopes. One night, her dreams are answered in the form of sultry rocker Ruby Sky, the magnetic front woman of her favorite band, Glitter Tears. Ruby hears Kyla perform and asks her to join the band on keys for their upcoming tour. In order to accept, Kyla must drop out of her Western Massachusetts high school and move to Los Angeles immediately to live with a renowned yet highly volatile producer who has agreed to put her through Rockstar boot camp in a matter of weeks. Blindsided by her emerging feelings for Ruby Sky, Kayla tumbles through the lights and shadows of the 90s music scene in Los Angeles. Ooh, takes place in the 90s. I like that. And so what I read, I do remember reading this in this particular line I'll read you now in the haul that I did for this. It says acclaimed musician Jessamyn Violet's debut LGBTQA+ novel sizzles with a coming-of-age story set in an industry of ambition, secret lies, and utter joy. That's all I read in the haul. But this one comes out, as of right now, according to the spine on this, April 18th of 2023. So we still have over a month to get to that book. Again, I just got to reach for these. Next, I have Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. On sale July 21st, 2022. So it's 2007 and the world is not as it seems. A government whistleblower reveals that the United States has been engaged in first contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence for decades. Whistleblowers intrigue me. And so I do want to read more books with whistleblowers. What other secrets have been kept from us by the government? Cora Sabino, the whistleblower's daughter, gets ensnared in the world-changing cover-up against her will. What she discovers will change everything she thought she knew about the history of her country and could unleash a force more sinister than she ever imagined. So, aliens, yes, please. Okay, next one I have Sea Glass Summer by Miranda Liasson, I'm guessing is how that one is said. I do like the cover. Coming in June 2022. Kit Blakemore is ready to live again. After her husband died while serving in the military, she was in a haze of grief. Now she wants to reclaim her former self, finish her degree, and find a better career to provide for their sweet little boy, Oliver. To do that, she'll need to sell her late husband's dilapidated Victorian in Seashell Harbor. But first, Kit intends to give Ollie the kind of unforgettable seaside summer she had growing up, making lifelong memories and friendships. Of course, nothing goes exactly as she planned. Ollie is struggling with his confidence, and frankly so is Kit, but everything changes when her husband's best friend, Alex de la Cruz, returns to town, offering to help her renovate. She doesn't expect Alex to temporarily move in, or for him to bond with Ollie, or for her numb heart to begin thawing. Slowly, he's helping Kit and Ollie heal, and it scares her to death. Kit swore she wouldn't leave herself open to the pain of loss again, but if she's going to teach her son to be brave and move forward, Kit must first face her own fears. So, that sounds good. Again, I just have not prioritized these. These are definitely on a shelf where it's out of sight, out of mind. I don't know, maybe what I need to do is when I'm doing my TBR game, I film in the room where these are. I film my TBR game, at least when I'm doing the board game, I film it in the room where these are. So maybe as I get these prompts, I need to look to see if any of these that I know of will fulfill any of the prompts and try to get to these before I get to these. But I want to get through all of my other ones too. I don't know what to do. They all sound good. I just have not prioritized them, and all but 2 of them are out. But yeah, I need to prioritize them. So I hope to do this again in a year so I can kind of hold myself accountable to get to these books, but we shall see. So let me know if you've read any of these ones that are out. If you're looking forward to either of the ones that are coming out, just talk to me in the comment section below. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I'll talk to you later.